Hi, it's Nicole from Snazzy Scrappin'. Just popping on to quickly show you this box that I made to put the new Creator Card wallet die set in. I thought it'd be a great idea if you're gifting it to someone to make the box, wrap it up as a gift, and when they open it up thinking it's the wallet, they realise that it's the actual card, so to speak. So you could put your sentiment or your message in here, the gift card, some cash in the back. I think it just makes it look that little bit more professional and lifelike. So here's the instructions. Now, I have done it in inches because my scoring board is in inches. So I apologise for those that work in centimetres, but it was just easier for me to actually do it in the inches. So we want to get some acetate and we want to cut it at 5 1/4 inch by 5 3/4 of an inch. Now, I did actually start to film it earlier and I made a mistake, so I had to start over. But what I like to do is pop it in the left-hand side of my scoring board, and you're going to score it 1/2 inch, rotate, score it 1/2 inch on all the 4 sides, always working on the left-hand side. Okay, so then you end up something like that. Now, what I like to do is, once I've scored the acetate, it's actually a lot harder to score than normal cardstock. So you want to bend it over and really, really burnish that fold with either your fingernails or your scoring tool. Really, really push that in so you get a really nice, sharp, crisp edge on all the 4 sides. Once you've done that, you'll have a 1/2 inch little tiny square. Just want to put some double-sided tape on the outside of those folds. Okay, now it's actually easy to put the double-sided tape on now, because what you're going to want to do is cut up here. So you're only cutting up one side, like so. Then you want to cut a tiny, tiny slither. So you're cutting at an angle. You want to cut a tiny slither from that top, from the inside cut, if that makes sense. So you don't have to do this edge, just this one here. I'll show you again. Tiny slither, just like that. So we'll do this side. And the last one. Okay. Then, once you've done that, just remove the release paper. We want to bring that side in, fold the top one down, make sure they're flush, and give them a good squeeze. Now, unfortunately, you can see the double-sided tape. There's no real way of getting around that with acetate because it's so clear. But you can't really see it once you've finished the product, and it doesn't look too bad. Make sure they're nice and flush. Give it a squeeze. And the last one. Perfect. So there we've got. You can always give it another good squeeze down so you've got the nice sharp edges. There we've got the lid made ready for the box. Now the box, the base of the box is 8.5 inches by 9 inches. So you will need either 8.5 by 11 inch cardstock to do this with, or your 12 by 12, because an A4 bit of paper isn't 8.5 inches wide. Okay, so these scoring measurements are a little bit more not so uniform, but it's fine. Now, as you'll see, my scoring board doesn't quite reach the end, but that's okay because we actually cut a lot of this off. So we want to score again all 4 sides on the left hand side at 5/8, 1 3/8, and 2 1/8. Okay, so as I said, doesn't matter about the very end because we're going to cut a lot of that off. So we turn it, we do the left at 5/8, 1 3/8, and 2 1/8. Okay, so we do that for all 4 sides. Last one. Okay, so you end up something looking like this. Okay, now we're going to cut off all of this and just leave that. Cut all that off, just leave that. Oh, and yep, all of that. We're just leaving this one. That's why I said it doesn't matter when we didn't go all the way, because we're going to cut that off. So I'll get rid of my scoring board now. Okay, so I like to fold before I cut. And again, really sharp, crisp edges. And all these folds will give you the best outcome with your cut. Now, the first 2 inside the box we're folding down. The last one on the outer edge we're going to fold the opposite way. So do that. Okay, and I'll do those 4 sides and I'll come back in a sec. Okay, so now that they've all been folded, we're going to cut. Now the trick is to actually cut on the inside of, to the right of the actual score line. So just a slightly in of that score line. So I'm going to cut all the way to that one. I'm going to cut this one only to this point, because obviously if we continued that cut, this one would get cut off. So we cut all the way up to here on the shorter edge and only to that point on the other one. So we'll chop this off. Okay, and we're going to go on the inside edge of that score line. Now we're going to cut a tiny wedge out of that one again. You can take a little bit off this one if you want. It's not, it probably won't hurt. So we're going to cut a wedge on both sides of the tab. Okay, this side will obviously cut on the left hand side of the score line. Okay, all the way up. This one we're only going to that first score. I'm going to stop. I'm going to chop all of that off. Okay, I'm going to give it slither out. And the same for this side. Okay, repeat the same on this side, and I'll be back. So your end product should look something like this. Okay, now what we're going to do is with these two ends, the shorter ends, we're just going to take, no, sorry, the longer ends. We're just going to take the tiniest wedge, just to the first fold, just a tiny wedge off. You don't need much, just a tiny bit. So the side that's got the two tabs, you just cut the little wedges off. Now you can glue all these folds down. You can put double-sided tape on the tabs and glue it all together. I've actually made them without some of the glue and they still sit okay. It's just up to you. So you want to push these sides in, fold this over, okay, and then that sort of sits in there. So you can either glue all this down, or you could even just pop some double-sided tape on this bit, fold it down, stick it down, and that will hold the tabs in place. Same thing on this side. Okay, now because we've cut this little tiny wedge here, the fold sits beautiful in the corner. Okay, and there's your box. As I said, you can, this one's not cooperating, but the others have sat without needing the glue, but a bit of tape wouldn't be a problem. Okay, pop your wallet in, and then pop the lid on top, and there's your gift. So there's the measurements again. Lid's 5 1/4 inch by 5 3/4 inch. Scored at 1/2 inch on all the 4 sides. Pardon me. The base is 8 1/2 inch by 9 inch. Scored at 5/8 inch, 1 3/8 inch, and 2 1/8 inch on all the 4 sides. Anyway, I hope you found that helpful and useful. And thanks for watching. Bye.